Ryan here with Dark Rangers Inc., and this is a very special episode. I'm at the actual Primaluce factory in Italy with Filippo.
Hey Ryan, welcome in Italy. So, there is something that I would like you to wear now. There you go, that's much better. Now you have a very special permission because the red jacket is just for the Primaluce Lab team. And today you are part of it.
I'm very honored to be here. If you guys have seen the channel over the last couple years, you've seen Primaluce gear in dozens of episodes. I happened to be in Europe. I was going to Venice, and I wanted to reach out on the 1 in a million shot that Filippo and the team were anywhere near Venice, and I was lucky enough to find out that...
Oh yes, we are near to Venice, so welcome to Pordenone, our city, and welcome to Primaluce Lab headquarters. And I want you to have a tour of the factory.
I'm very excited, and I can't wait to show you guys as well. So let's kick it off.
Let's go. So welcome in the sunny Italy.
Yeah, it's very nice out. I got lucky.
It looks like spring today, so I'm really happy that you brought sun here in Italy.
Just for you. You told me a funny story about what this is.
Yeah, we are in front of our headquarters, and when we created the headquarters, we wanted to have a special sign. So instead of a standard one, we wanted to reconstruct the monolith of 2001 Space Odyssey.
That's
perfect.
Not? I love it. That's hilarious. Yeah.
You know that I like to have fun.
Yeah.
Too, so
it's the Italian way.
That's the Italian way.
And
perfect.
This.
Yeah, there you go.
So should we head inside?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Come in so I can show you something related to all the technology that we develop here. Because this is where all the magic stuff is developed, and this is where the entire team works.
Filippo, this is what we call in America being a kid in a candy store. Talk us through some of these awesome gadgets that I've been working with, but maybe some of the folks at home haven't, and also the new Eagle 6 that you just came out with.
Oh yeah, yes, that's the new Eagle 6 that you see here, and there's here also. It's the brand new version of the computer that we just released 1 month ago.
Yeah.
And essentially, this is the 6th generation. So we presented the Eagle 10 years ago. Yeah, this is the 10th anniversary. And this is the 6th version that we improved. And essentially, every year we release new technologies that we embed in the same form factor of the Eagle.
So what are some of those new features? You tell me there's a lot of new remote features on there for folks that want to control remotely and other equipment outside of the Primaluce ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year the focus was to bring the best remote control technologies on everyday telescope. So it's not only related to big observatories, it's good for big observatory, but also for compact and portable telescopes, like the one that we use on our own. These are our own telescopes.
Well, and that's actually a really big trend in the US. You're seeing a lot of folks taking small rigs like this FSQ-85 to some of the new remote observatories in Texas, Utah, New Mexico, and it's not just for the huge scopes. So these features are going to make it a lot easier to run in those remote locations.
Oh yeah, you have beautiful skies over there in US.
We're lucky,
Here in Europe, but especially in Italy, everybody is very close to the other, so sky conditions is not great, but still portability is a key thing because we need to move.
So you talked about the feature where you can control the Eagle not just from Wi-Fi, but from basically anywhere without a separate device.
Yeah, so essentially this year we not only added the newest processors, we improved the memory, we added Wi-Fi 6E capabilities, now 3-band in order to reduce radio interferences and improve the Wi-Fi range also. But we provided 2 big things in the Eagle 6. So one is observatory actions. So within the name observatory action, we mean that the Eagle is now able to talk with external devices that may trigger an action that you define in the Eagle Manager X. For example, you can have a weather sensor that can trigger an action like turning off power to one of your devices, or turn on power to the heater, or even shut down the observatory if you have someone entering in the observatory. So, something like, you can think about that as automation related to domotics.
So would that work if you had, for example, an observatory with either a dome or a roof? You could have a weather sensor sense that it's raining, and it will close. This will tell it to close that roof.
You can essentially you can trigger all the ports and possible sensors of the Eagle by hardware. So not dealing anymore just on software is an added layer of protection.
So if you think about the switch feature in Nina, where it's software driven, you can use the Nina software to trigger certain things on the Eagle. This is now hardware.
Yeah, that's also hardware.
So it's a second layer.
And related to this, we just added also the safety monitor driver for the Eagle. This way, we provided to Nina all the data from the Eagle in order to trigger safety action in Nina. For example, you can trigger an action in Nina if the inclinometer gives you a reading that is below a certain value.
Okay.
If there is a motion, you can trigger an action.
So if it's maybe going too low and it's going to hit the tripod leg or something like that, you can tell it to trigger the mount to stop.
There you go.
So the mount may have that feature. Nina may have those features, but they fail sometimes, or just having that backup, because if this thing smacks into here, that's not good.
Yeah.
This will say, hey, you're too low, stop the mount.
There you go. Perfect.
Awesome.
And there's this thing is really the interconnection between the Eagle sensors and third-party softwares that allow you essentially to expand the feature limitless.
Yeah.
Because it's based on what you have in mind. And essentially, that's why we call it observatory actions, because you can do many different type of actions. And one of the actions are related to powering on remotely big mounts or domes that are not powered through the Eagle.
Yeah, you were saying like astrophysics mounts that are big premium mounts, 10
microns mounts.
Yeah, so you're able to actually power those on.
Yep, directly through the Eagle without having to buy external controllers.
Yeah, and having help people set those up, that is a big pain to have to set up that external controller.
You just need a cable.
Wow.
Very easy.
That's fantastic.
And the second thing that we added to the Eagle 6 is the lights out management. That's essentially, it looks like a page that you can remotely access to, but you are able to remotely connect to the Eagle by passing the operative system. So the first thing you can do is that you can remotely turn on the Eagle directly from your remote device. And it's a very easy thing in order to remotely turn on your telescope without having to go outside and press the button. There you go, that's the first thing. But the other thing is that you have access to all the ports control, all the sensor. Essentially, everything you have on the Eagle Manager X, you have available remotely without having to connect to the Eagle. And this is
so not having, you can be beyond Wi-Fi range. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just need to have it connected to the network.
Wow.
So essentially, you have a full control of the computer status of the sensor of the port bypassing the operative system. What happens if the operative system has a problem?
Yeah.
You lose the access to the Eagle.
Correct. Yeah.
In this moment. But with the lights out management, you can still log in, check what's going on, and if there is a problem, you can reboot and restart.
I love the ability, if I know it's going to be clear, to take the cover off before it's dark. Maybe I have to go to dinner or go to a party or something. I can then turn everything on.
You can power the devices independently from the operative system.
Wow.
You can preheat your telescope with the dew heater before even starting your Eagle remotely.
That's great.
You know?
Yeah.
And this
That's
technology is provided to everyday telescope. Not only is of course it's perfect for remote observatories. It's perfect when you have a big telescope remotely operated.
Or small.
Or even a small one.
And one thing that, you know, we've had a lot of folks that are subscribers of the channel or Patreon members get the Eagle. One piece of feedback I do hear occasionally is the price, and you solve that with the base model now at $1,200.
Yeah. Now today with the new generation of the Eagle, now we have a base model that starts at $1,295, and that essentially provides all the feature of the Eagle, power distribution, all the sensor, everything in a more affordable model that fits more to everyday or even small or more entry-level telescopes.
So how often, as time goes on, prices always go up? You got a lower cost and way more features. So I love that. I think that addresses, you know, probably the only concern I ever hear, and you know, it gives folks a much lower price point entry to the previous generation. So that's fantastic. And
I like to show these two different telescopes because our platform is really designed to let you convert any optical telescope into a remotely operated telescope. And this is the thing. I mean, we have two Eagle 6, one that is installed above the OTA, the other is installed below the OTA because you can install in the way you prefer based on your type of setup, that are controlling two different type of telescopes that comes with all our devices. They both have the Esatto focuser, this is the low profile, this is the standard 3 inches. They both have the Arco camera rotator and field rotator, 2 inches and 3 inches. They have the Eco environmental module. They have the Alto cover motor and the Giotto flat field generator. So it's a full package that is still designed to be open. I mean, and that's the philosophy of what we do here, to support our competitors. We don't care because we are astrophotographers. We know that we want to choose the best devices for our telescope, and I don't know if tomorrow someone will release a new device that will change the market, and we want to get to be ready to support them, even if it's a device that is our direct competitor.
No, I think that's really honorable. You know, obviously one of the more popular operating systems, we'll leave the name out of it, but they don't allow you to use anybody else's accessories, even if they don't make that accessory. So for example, if for many years didn't have a camera rotator, so then you just couldn't run a camera rotator. With the Eagle, you can run any brand camera rotator you want. And I think that's really cool. You're saying, hey, if you want to get Primaluce, fine, but if you don't, we're going to give you the opportunity.
Of course. Our devices, they don't need an Eagle to work. And on the opposite, if you have an Eagle, you can run any other focuser, rotator, camera, anything.
I think
because
that's awesome.
That's the best thing of competition, essentially, from our point of view, is that the market improves. You have more solution and more possibilities. So why locking you into something and that doesn't allow you to really grow into your hobby? So that's an important thing.
And I personally have been using the Sesto Senso autofocuser, which is a little bit different. It actually attaches to the focus knob. I've been using the Arco 3-inch, Eagle 5 on both scopes, and then on my big scope, the flat panel with the Alto motor. This really spoils you. Not having the flats is the bane of everybody's existence. Having this be able to just turn on and give you perfect flats. It sounds like something you don't need, but once you use it, you don't ever want to go back.
You really see the difference.
It's really nice. And then obviously some of the most beautiful hardware. I love the dovetails, love the rings, and it just really makes the scopes pop.
Well, you know, we are in Italy, so first of all, it's the design has to be, is a country law, is written in the Constitution.
Ferrari.
And then Ferrari red. So it has to look great and it has to be red.
That's right. Awesome. Well, we have a lot of other areas.
Do you want to see the offices with all the people working upstairs?
Let's
see. We hope that they are working.
Let's find out.
Let's go upstairs. So
I love all the actual astrophotography on the walls too.
Oh yeah, I mean these are pictures from me, some picture from friends. But this is what we do. I mean, on the evening when I come home, I shoot. Sometimes, not always. If I'm not traveling.
Yeah, when you have clear skies.
And if the family allows me also.
Yeah.
That's important.
Well, we'll meet the boss later.
Yeah, the boss is upstairs. She's my wife. So, but here you have the team in the company. We have the electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. Omar, he's a head designer. Ciao, Omar. You are on the you are on the movie. But we have the software engineers. So this is where essentially we develop all our devices, where the new ideas become a reality.
Very cool. Yeah.
And this is what they do. And of course, if you watch from here, you have a preview of the company, because in the back here we have the warehouse with all the workshop, and we have the electrical laboratory with all the people work to assemble, to test and calibrate all the products. And I will show you that.
Yeah.
We can go downstairs.
There's nothing too top secret down there?
Well, there is always something very secret, but I can show you something to give you.
Okay, good.
Of course. Sometimes, you see, people visiting us tell me, well, I suppose you had a factory somewhere in the world that manufacture the product for you, and we don't.
Yeah.
This is where we build and we develop our ideas, and also we create our products.
And don't you answer every support email?
Oh yeah. That's one of the things that is. It takes a lot of time. It's a big effort.
Of course, yeah.
But early in the morning, I wake up very early in the morning usually, and I personally reply to the support emails, because I want to have a direct feedback from the users to me, that I can have control on the factory. So when I see something that we can really improve, I can quickly move the new idea to the engineers, that they can quickly change something in the factory.
You guys are constantly doing, software, firmware updates all the time. You're taking that feedback and you're putting it into practice, releasing new software that can actually improve and get rid of any possible issues, but also improve the features as well.
There are always something that, because you see, when you have this platform that allows you to connect everything to everything, you always find some combination that you never tested.
Of course.
And so actually we have a lot of feedbacks, and I'm happy to receive feedback. Sometimes it's not good even, but you have to accept it and to quickly work in order to improve it.
Sure.
So that's why I personally, and sometimes people say, oh, but how can you reply? You are the president.
Yeah.
But I want to really have a very detailed knowledge of what's happening, how people is using our devices.
Well, and you could, from not just meeting you personally, but seeing all the videos, you can feel the passion.
Well, it's a passion. This work is a passion.
Yeah.
I changed my life to create this, so but for good.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's a passion.
Okay, so now we're going from a kid in a candy store to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. That's what this is.
I'm learning new terminology.
That's the next room, yeah.
So this is where the big and the small stuff is really created.
Wow.
So we have a laboratory where all the eagles, Esatto, Sesto Senso, Arco, you name them.
Yeah.
All the devices are assembled, tested, calibrated, and then sealed. And then with this machine, this is how we do that. So everything that you see here is really created here. And I really like the thing that we have control on what we do. We want to create something that is as close as possible to perfection.
Right.
We cannot be perfect. Sometimes some bad thing may happen.
Right.
but we want to have control.
One thing I've always loved is that handwritten checklist with
Oh,
every single product. Doesn't matter if it's a full eagle or a little Sesto Senso. Somebody by hand signs it and does a checklist.
Let me show you who they are. So when you receive some of our products, one of the guys in the lab, they signed the checklist because they created the product that you receive, and they checked all the parts.
Yeah.
So this is where essentially we assemble, we test, and also create new products.
Yeah.
That are not visible right now.
Okay.
They are in the secret room.
Okay.
It's in the secret room.
All right, we won't go there today.
No. But essentially, this is where a lot of our guys work. We have optical bench to test the focusers. We have the movement sensor and calibration devices with all the accelerometer in order to test and calibrate all the eagles. And everything is really made here.
Yeah, and I think when we talked about earlier the difference between Primaluce and some of the other companies, I mean, you look at this. Like, first of all, the fact that I can come here and talk to the president and go on a tour, but then also this is like a lab in here. I mean, it truly is. The name is very fitting. It's like everything's very organized. You have really highly skilled people putting together and testing every product before it goes out.
Oh yeah,
that's
and
amazing.
we had also to create our own calibration machines that they had to be more precise than the eagle itself, for example, or to be more precise than the Esatto precision, because you need to use that as a benchmark,
right.
So we had to develop our own system. It took some time and effort, but we have them. So now we are independent and we can really assemble, test, calibrate. And here also they fix product. If there is something to change, we do everything here.
Yeah, and I think you can really only be as precise as the equipment you're using to measure the precision.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we had to develop our own measuring tools.
That's very
in order to calibrate the
I didn't know that. I didn't know you guys were doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
So we can move now, and we can go to the place where we build bigger things.
Big stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that I didn't even know you were making.
Yeah, because...
Well, not the big stuff.
Yeah, there is... I mean, part of the company... when we started 12 years ago, we had a big dream. So we are astrophotographers by 30 years.
Yeah.
And that's initially it started as a hobby for me and Omar. And then when we decided to fund the company and to start, Omar said to me, because he's a great designer, and I had the ideas, and I needed a designer.
All those different type of
so
people.
So we really compensate each other, essentially.
Right.
And I told him, I would like to do this thing together with you, and he told me, I will go with you.
Okay.
I'm okay, but you need to make something so unique that people all around the world will want to buy.
Yeah.
This is what we want to do. We don't want to sell telescopes. But we want to develop something for telescopes.
Everything but the scope, almost.
There you go. So actually, this is what we do. So we create everything except the OTA in order to provide to the best, to the people, the best telescope technologies. That's what we do. And when we started with an idea to create the first radio telescope anybody could buy.
A radio telescope.
A radio telescope. So you know us for astrophotography, but in reality, the starting point was radio astronomy, because when we started, I was searching to. I studied radio astronomy. I also wrote a book. I'm not a radio astronomer, but I love I love the science, and there was nothing to buy. No, it's different than an optical telescope.
Yeah, you don't hear anybody talking about them really, other than big, massive government ones.
So I said to Omar, okay, let's make a compact radio telescope that anybody could buy and use as an optical telescope. And that's why today Primaluce Lab has a product line of radio telescope together with all the devices that we do for the optical telescopes.
Yeah.
This still survives. So we have these two big parts, and essentially that's why we build our own mounts for our own radio telescopes.
And talk about the capacity of these
Oh,
two.
yeah. So essentially, these mounts for the 3-meter radio telescope, they have 300 kilos. If I make a comparison, I say mount for a radio telescope is slightly different than an optical telescope. If I can make a comparison, you would refer that as a mount with 300 kilos payload capacity.
Yeah, that's 660 pounds to all you guys in the US.
Okay, there you go. And it's a fully weatherproof.
Wow, that's huge.
Radio astronomy you can do in daytime,
right,
through the cloud, even if it's rainy.
You guys in the UK, you might have to switch to radio telescope. And then you have this, which is still more for the optical.
That's for the optical telescope. So this is coming from our experience. This is a big mount that we are currently developing for our own observatory. I want to show you later that we have to go over
there. And this is 150 kilograms?
Yeah, 150 photographic payload capacity.
And this is the full encoders?
Full encoder, absolute encoders, direct drive mount.
Wow, and what's the resolution on it?
Sub-arc second.
Sub-arc second.
So the thing with this mount, essentially, we developed this mount for our own observatory.
Yeah.
And this is something that happens always here. So when I received one of my first Edge HD telescopes, I had no focuser.
Oh, so you just
So I said to Omar, hey Omar, you have to design a focuser for the Edge. That's when he designed the Esatto.
Okay.
The Esatto, it's because of my telescope.
Yeah.
And then we developed that, and essentially we figured out that it was the best solution. And say, okay, we add this to the catalog. And sometimes we develop this thing because we have an idea and then we want to have it, we want to use it, so we are the first users of our devices.
Oh, okay, that makes so when you say you come up with the ideas, you figure out what you need. That's part of it.
Absolutely.
And then your talented team comes up with it, and then you get to use it on your own stuff, make sure it's good, and then actually release it out to the public.
As for this mount, I told them I want to have, first of all, an Altaz mount, because I don't want to deal with meridian flip, or I don't want to have counterweight, but I want to have 2 OTAs, because I'm a geologist by study, and I'm in love with moon geology, but I also want to do my deep sky astrophotography. Of
course.
So I wanted to have a RASA telescope on one side, that's the 11, and the Edge 14, so I can have my planetary camera on this side, and I can have my cooled camera on the other side. But I want them to work with the Arco, to use as the rotator, so I can get rid of all the difficult things. And I have a system that I can use on any type of astrophotography I want to shoot based on the time.
Yeah, having like a really fast, wider field and then a slower, really deep space is awesome. And I don't know if Delta would allow it, but I'd love, I could just take this back to Arizona for you for a couple of weeks. I don't think it'll let me go that far. But, it is very cool looking. And the capacity. So like for, 150 kilos, that's 330 pounds. There's not many scopes that are going to really exceed that.
Yeah, I can sit on top of that also if I want to, and I can drive.
Yeah.
So no problem. So essentially here, we prepare all the telescopes that we install, not only in our observatory, but also when we receive orders from institutes, different level schools. We have also science centers that requires us to develop for them compact observatories.
Oh,
so
because you guys will actually take, I've seen on your website, you'll actually take like a Borg or something and put rings on it, and you can buy it straight from Primaluce.
Well, we started with this, and then we figure out that essentially it was more a complication for a customer point of view,
Okay.
because then you need to have a support, and maybe you need to support something related to your OTA. So we decided to stop selling third-party OTAs bundled with our stuff.
Yeah.
But we show on the website how to
use it, because you've had them here and you did that for a time period.
Yeah.
So all the spacers and all that, because
Yeah.
that can be complicated sometimes.
yeah.
When you're talking about a camera rotator, going into a focuser, all the spacers, having all those diagrams. And you guys have some of the best diagrams, you know, for the Eagle, it's, you know, 50 plus pages showing you exactly how, with images, and it makes it really easy. But you just have to actually read the instruction manual.
Yeah. And
I learned that quickly.
Every telescope essentially is different.
Yeah.
And we like that.
Yeah,
We
the
like
challenge.
the idea. It's not, it's the same telescope repeated 1,000 times. No, it's every telescope is different, because maybe you need something that others they don't need, and you want to have a specific application, you want to have a specific device on that. So when we create, this is one of the telescopes we are preparing for a school. This will be installed in a dome. By the way, we also have our dome line.
Coming out, right?
Yeah. So we are going to present that. We are going to start with a 3-meter diameter dome. It's a clamshell design. And essentially...
And the roof will be, you know, automated with weather system.
Of course, fully integrated with the Eagle and all the technology.
All the new sensors and technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And essentially, they are going to receive this system that will provide to them a full package, hardware, software, everything, so they can immediately start their astronomy program without the hassle of trying to figure out how to make them work all together.
No, that's a lot of work, trying to figure out not only all the scope, but then the dome, having it all feed into the Eagle. It senses the weather, it can do everything automatically. That would be amazing.
Yeah, especially for, you know, sometimes I see you have a very high knowledge of astrophotography. When we talk to professors in school, usually they need to start.
Yeah.
So they need some help, but of course I can't be at the
Fly
school
out
for
there,
forever.
Right.
You know. So this is one of the reason why I also published the book about astrophotography.
Sure.
We started as a the software that we developed, user manual, but then we are developing that and improving that and providing more and more content to create really an astrophotography book for people starting in astrophotography.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because, you know, Nina, Sequence Generator Pro, all the other astrophotography software are great. They are so powerful, but the learning curve, you know,
and you have to install them all. You have to get them to talk together.
Yeah.
So your end goal eventually is to have Play software, which is their software that comes on the Eagle, will control everything.
Yeah. It's a starting point.
And it's all, even the features you can do now are very simple. It's graphical. It's all push button. There's not, you know, you're not worrying about all these different elements that you have to combine together. It just works.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me, is it a replacement of Nina? No, absolutely not, and it won't ever be. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's a starting point.
Sure.
You may start with Play, learn how astrophotography works. You can change your camera, change your devices.
Sure.
We don't care, because it supports ASCOM camera, ASCOM mount, all our devices, of course. But then you can move from Play to Nina. If you have our focuser and devices, you can connect to Nina our devices through ASCOM, and you always have the same telescope with the new software interface that allows you to have more features.
Yeah, and I can vouch, Play will recognize, I've had QHY, ZWO, the new QSI. So I've had 4 or 5 different cameras hooked up to it, and it recognizes it with no problem.
It's easy and good looking also, because that's why we call it Play. It's not Primaluce astrophotography, but because we want people
to
really...
Oh, very cool.
But we want people to play with that.
Nice.
Because you need to start with something. And that's our solution.
Awesome.
Hey, do you want to see something bigger than this, even bigger than this?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's go to the Primaluce Space Center.
I can't wait. Let's go.
Let's go.